Count Dooku was one of Star Wars' most powerful Sith Lords, so why didn't he have the yellow eyes that so many of them have? Few Star Wars villains are as well known as Sith Lords. The Sith are the embodiment of the dark side, with their dark, brooding presence, crimson red lightsaber blades, black attire, and signature glowing yellow eyes. Many infamous Sith Lords, such as Darth Maul, Darth Vader, and Darth Sidious, are defined by these characteristics throughout Star Wars lore. However, one Sith Lord, Count Dooku, is never shown with Sith eyes. Why is this the case? Let's see. Welcome to Star Wars Empire, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as we dive into more specifics on the subject. Starting us off, eyes are windows to the soul, reflecting the Sith's emotions. Almost every Sith has the distinctive yellow Sith eyes. However, aside from being a visual cue for the audience, their fire-filled eyes have an in-universe reason. According to Star Wars, the visual encyclopedia, eyes are windows to the soul, reflecting the Sith's emotions. When rage and anger boil within a dark side user, their eyes may turn yellow with a fiery red rim. That is, a Sith's emotions will be visible through their eyes. When Sith eyes are visible, their power level can also be determined. In the current Star Wars canon, Darth Sidious is the ultimate Sith. He oversaw the Republic's demise and the Jedi's destruction, and even escaped death while thrown down a reactor shaft. It's easy to say that his eyes should always be yellow, but they're not. When he was Chancellor Palpatine, he kept his fiery eyes hidden. This demonstrates that he's aware of his appearance and can knowingly conceal his evil appearance from those around him when necessary. Next, the yellow eyes may demonstrate the life of the Sith. Other Sith do not attempt to conceal their eye color. Darth Maul and his brother Savage Opress are two examples of this. They do not hide their vileness because they're not as cunning as Darth Sidious. They also have more pure rage than other Sith in Star Wars. Maul originally intended to destroy the Jedi, but after being maimed on Naboo, he shifted his focus to Obi-Wan and Darth Sidious. His injuries caused him to live in a state of hatred while seeking vengeance. That way of life was demonstrated through his eyes, and he taught his brother to follow suit. As a result, they're constantly seething with a visible rage that communicates their desire for vengeance and dominance. Because their dark side emotions are too new to control, younger or less experienced Sith cannot hide their eyes from others. For example, a newly christened Darth Vader alternated between yellow and his standard eye color. On Mustafar, Darth Vader's eyes glow as he massacres the Separatist leaders, but returns to normal when his wife Padme Amidala arrives. The encyclopedia explains, Anakin's eyes communicate his current emotions. Unlike Sidious, who can control his appearance, they turned yellow when he was angry with the Separatists. On the other hand, the sight of his lover calmed him down. Following that, does every Sith have yellow eyes? Certain Sith, such as Count Dooku and Kylo Ren, lack yellow eyes, and in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Anakin's eye color alternated between blue and yellow several times before transforming into Darth Vader. Darth Sidious, meanwhile, has disguised himself as the healthy politician Chancellor Palpatine, with regular colored eyes. One could conclude that the yellow eyes are a fleeting trait of the Sith, but this is also only partially correct. Sidious used his position as Chancellor Palpatine to work behind the scenes and sway political opinion to effectively orchestrate the Republic's fall and the Jedi's destruction. Of course, if he were walking around with Sith eyes, that wouldn't have worked either. So whenever he was Chancellor Palpatine, he kept his yellow eyes hidden with his power. More potent fighters such as Darth Maul, consumed by their hatred and unable to master the dark side, have a much more difficult time concealing their physical characteristics. It all makes sense when you think about it, but there are a few flaws in that theory. If rage fuels the dark side and yellow eyes are a distinguishing feature, why have we never seen Count Dooku's yellow eyes, or maybe Kylo Ren's? Moving on, Sith Lord's connection to the dark side. Many infamous Sith Lords such as Darth Maul, Darth Vader, and Darth Sidious are defined by these characteristics throughout Star Wars lore. However, one Sith Lord, Count Dooku, is never shown with Sith eyes. Although the prequels depict Dooku as a powerful dark side wielder, he lacks the counterpart's signature glowing gaze. This is perplexing given that Dooku embodies many other Sith Lord characteristics, such as his black visage, dark robes, and sinister curved hilt-red lightsaber. He also demonstrates a strong understanding of the dark side of the Force and its powers, employing Sith lightning and participating in dark rituals with his master Sidious. Why was he missing the most noticeable feature of other Sith Lords if he was the apprentice to the most powerful Sith in history? Both canon and legend acknowledge Dooku's lack of Sith eyes, but his background and the reasoning behind why other Sith have them can't provide an adequate explanation. Looking at other Sith, it's clear that yellow eyes result from their connection to the dark side and that people can have them. For many, the eyes appear only after they have truly surrendered to the dark side, allowing fear, hatred, and anger to consume them. On the other hand, Dooku never really succumbed to the dark side in the way Anakin and Sidious do. Although Dooku quickly rose to Sith power, earning the title Darth Tyrannus, his years of Jedi training allowed him to control his emotions adequately. Next, Dooku's primary goal that made him not to succumb fully to the dark side. Meanwhile, despite his cruel ways, Dooku's goal were never force dominance or galaxy control. He was a political idealist of the separatist movement, first and foremost, and just as Darth Sidious concealed his Sith traits while serving as the Republic's face, Dooku had to keep up appearances as the legitimate face of the separatists. He was also a former Jedi Master. He left after becoming dissatisfied with the Council's arrogance and the Senate's apparent corruption, preferring to reclaim his aristocratic title as Count of Sereno. His primary goal was to confront the Republic's hypocrisy. Joining Sidious and embracing the dark side was a powerful tool to that end. All of these factors, combined with Dooku's aristocratic demeanor, kept Dooku from ever truly unleashing a wellspring of brute violence and anger on his enemies, preventing the yellow eyes from manifesting. In contrast, while slaughtering the separatist leaders on Mustafar, Anakin Skywalker develops yellow Sith eyes. When Padme arrives, his eyes return to normal throughout his conflicted duel with his former master Obi-Wan. Only after he's left for dead by Obi-Wan does his hatred resurface, and his former self is burned away. In Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Dooku's apprentice Asajj Ventress never develops the trait. Despite possessing the dark side, the former Jedi Padawan never fully embodies it in the way other Sith can. Moving on, dark side corrupts all who embrace it. As a result of their unwavering commitment to the evil side, many of the Inquisitors in Star Wars Rebels have the appearance of Sith eyes, even though they're also former Jedi. Palpatine is able to conceal the fact that he's a Sith while serving as Supreme Chancellor, thanks to the fact that he has complete control over his emotions. It's not until after his battle with Mace Windu and Anakin's turn to the dark side that Sith Lord Darth Sidious reaches the height of his power. At this time, he also regains the ability to see in yellow, a trait that'll remain with him for the rest of his life. In contrast to Dooku, each of these other characters has wholly embraced the evil side of the Force. However, it is essential to note that Anakin was the one who put an end to Dooku's career as a Sith. If Dooku had spent more time as a Sith, he would have given in to the dark side's influence and developed the yellow eyes characteristic of Sith in the Star Wars universe. This is because anyone embracing the dark side will eventually become corrupted. Following that, Dooku has control despite anger being origin of Sith eyes. After Qui-Gon Jinn died during the Naboo invasion, Dooku returned to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant briefly before Jinn's funeral to reflect on his death, as he had taken a young Jinn to the tree frequently. The boy being fascinated by it because he had been born on Coruscant and had known nothing like it. He told Master Yaddle, who had approached him there, about it, and Yaddle informed him that Jinn's funeral would be held in Naboo, and the council would be traveling to attend. Still, Dooku informed her that he would not attend because he didn't believe his presence would be appreciated or welcome. She inquired if he held the council responsible for Jinn's death, but Dooku only stated that he had become one with the Force and that it was time to let him go. Yaddle questioned Dooku's capability, but he said he had no choice. Dooku then left to confront Sidious in the works industrial zone on the planet, furious that his allies' machinations had resulted in the death of his former apprentice. His eyes remained the same despite his ferocious anger. Finally, despite being in a battle with Yaddle, Dooku's eyes never represented those of Sith. Dooku confronted the Sith Lord, accusing him of forcing him to betray everything and everyone he knew. Sidious claimed that Dooku's actions served a greater good and that his betrayal was a necessary evil. Yaddle had secretly followed Dooku. After overhearing his conversation with Sidious, she confronted them and urged Dooku to surrender to her and help her defeat Sidious. Dooku hesitated initially, but on Sidious' orders, he challenged Yaddle to a lightsaber duel as a final test of loyalty. Despite Yaddle's best efforts, Dooku's near-unrivaled dueling abilities quickly overwhelmed her. Yaddle hid behind Sidious' ship and called out to Dooku, admitting that the Jedi Council had been wrong and informing him that she had chosen to step down from the body. Her most recent attempt to persuade Dooku failed, as he used the Force to push away the ship that separated them. Yaddle retreated to the doorway, leading back to her ship after another brief exchange of blows. When Dooku mocked her for running back to the council, Yaddle retorted that he had run directly into the arms of evil. So what do you think of today's video? Do you think Dooku will ever be corrupted enough to obtain the yellow flame in his eyes? Let us know in the comments section down below.